Well, good day everyone, and how are you doing? Let's start the show, shall we? What we got here is an F150. I know what you're thinking, oh my gosh. But this one's gonna be fun because we're gonna show you today how to replace the radio using this. The iData K150 dash kit. We're gonna be retaining the Sirius XM and also installing the Ecomaster Ford emblem cam. That ought to be fun, right?
That's gonna be excited.
All right, you got your wedding ring off?
Yes.
All right, perfect. Safety tip, if you guys are working on cars or anything like that use your hands and you're married, don't wear your wedding ring. As Jimmy Fallon found out, it's real easy to lose a finger. And I did it the hard way, of course, but I didn't have a wedding ring on. We're putting in an 8200, that's what he wants. Let's get started. What we need to do is we need to count over the 10th digit from left to right and see what it is. You can find it right here up in the dash. Take off my glasses so I can see. All right, and this one is a D, which is telling me it's a 2013. It's very important to know this because you're having to flash these modules. All right, you know what we're doing?
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
Backup camera.
So he's gonna start on the backup camera?
So the first thing we wanna do is, of course, open the gate. We wanna take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 torques. You can see right here we take the Ford logo out. This is only, they have like a double-sided tape. Just carefully with a pry tool, very carefully, so you don't scratch around the truck. Try to pry around it first. Don't try to go on one side like really hard because probably you can break the logo. So just go around it first, try to loosen it, and then eventually it's gonna come out. So just be patient, and let's go to the bench and see the Ecomaster. Let's go open it up. We have the warranty card, the instructions. Make sure you read all the instructions, and the actual camera. We have the emblem and the backup camera. The good thing about this one, they snap. It's not glue. They give you 2 screws so you can screw it in, and then the emblem is just gonna snap, so you don't use glue or double-sided tape, nothing like that. We have our female RCA power, same in the other side. Now let's gonna prep the cables and install the camera. Alright, so we have our wires ready. Let's go to the car. So now that we have our wire inside, let's use this thread insert. Push it. Now we have our two. Let's use this 7mm. Also, we clean all the tape from the old logo. And last but not least, that will be the logo. Just carefully. Snaps in and you're good to go. So there he is. It looks really nice. And the backup camera is right there.
So we went ahead and printed off the instruction manual right here. Let's go ahead and open the kit and see what comes inside of it. Comes with a couple quick start guides. The actual kit itself. They tape the foam over the front of it. It comes with the clips pre-installed. Has the nice factory look to the air conditioner. The hole for the factory switch. There's two plugs that are on the back, a red one and a small 3-pin white one. We'll go ahead and set this aside. Inside the kit, you also have the main pocket that's going to mount into the lower portion. It has two USB inputs, an HDMI input, as well as an aux input. You have to provide the cables that plug into these though. It does not come with those. Comes with the two metal side brackets that are going to mount the radio into the dash. And then underneath that is a small white box. We'll set this aside so we can put the factory radio bezel back inside of it. Inside the small white box is going to be our wiring harness. This is the main forward wiring harness here, and then we have this secondary harness here. This is going to be for the AC controls. So the first thing we need to do is check to see if it's a 1.0, 2.0, or higher. You can either look on the side of the box here or open and pull the unit out. Look at the sticker on the back. According to this, it's a 3.0, so that's going to be the 2.0 or higher, which means we're just going to use this red cable. Go ahead and plug that in so we don't lose it. And we'll take these extra parts and just put them back in the bag. Now, since we have the brain out of the box, let's go ahead and grab our instructions and see what parts we're going to need out of the box. So first off, we're going to need the data connection, and then we're going to need the aux connection over here. All right, so we have all the harnesses that we need out of this box. We'll go ahead and set all those extra parts in there. Inside the main harness, we have there again another red connector for use with Maestro Gen 2 only. For use with Maestro Gen 1 only. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get rid of this. Throw that back in there. We'll plug this in. Now what we want to do is go ahead and look at the rest of the parts that come in the bag. We have the factory backup camera retention. There again, we're not going to need that because we're putting in our own camera. We have the OBD2 connector. So we'll go ahead and unplug that so that we can tape up the wire, make it nice and pretty. Then we have the main wiring harness. And then we have the ends that are going to plug into the unit here. Then we got this little guy right here is to plug into the factory wiring harness and then into the back of the air conditioning controls. Grab the kit real quick. This guy is going to go right here. Just like that. Plug it in right now so that we don't lose it. iData on some of their harnesses does a pretty decent job of running as far as wire management goes. This is one of those that they actually kind of thought out. All we really have to do to this is just put, some insulation tape on it so that it's nice and insulated. We have all our wires here. Let's talk about the wires since we just mentioned those. They do a really good job here of explaining what all these wires are going to be doing. They also show you where all these cables are going to plug in. They do a nice mock-up. Their instructions are on point for sure. There's some of these that aren't going to be used. So for example, brown, not connected. So make sure you just read over this. For the most part, it uses all the same colors as the radio. For example, it's going to have white, white, black, gray, gray, black, greens, purples. It's going to have a yellow constant, a red accessory. Those colors were the speakers. Solids are positive, negatives are striped. It's going to have a black ground. It's going to have a blue, white, amp turn on. It's going to have an orange illumination. It's going to have a purple, white reverse trigger, a light green e-brake. Pink is going to be your vehicle speed sense. If you're doing an Alpine and you need a yellow black foot brake wire or foot brake for any reason, it has that. So yeah, just glance over these real quick and see which ones you have for your radio. With this soldered up. So we have the harness all set and ready to go. We've added in our accessory and ground for our backup camera. We've also added in a remote turn on just in case he ever decides to add a sub amp. This radio has forced rear camera views so you can actually view the camera while you're going forward. So that's why we've gone ahead and hooked it up to accessory and not reverse trigger. We need to be able to view camera whenever we want. We have our Maestro data as well as the aux connector bundled off on its own. They're going to end up coming over here with the main harness. We have our red AC panel. The OBD2 is all set and ready to go. We're gonna head into the car now Now normally we would start by removing the radio first. That's always step one when we put a new radio in. In this case we didn't do that because we knew iData gave us great instructions for wiring up the harness. We could go ahead and get that out of the way while we're unboxing everything. And honestly, it's the least fun part of the installs. Now though, we get to pull this whole guy apart here to get this out. In some cases on the older models, you could just pop these loose and this whole panel would pop out. On this one though, it has these screws that are over here and over here. So we have to remove both side pieces to get this out. Now this has a center console that's in here that's gonna be in the way. Three 10mm bolts that hold this airbag in place. We need to have this come out. We're not going to unplug it, we just need it to come out. Remove the little panel here across the bottom of the radio and also remove the cup holders. There's two screws across the bottom here and they are both 7mm. Alright, now that we've removed that, we can just lean these forward. There again, we don't need to take these off, we just need to get them out of the way so we can get to these two top 7mm. Drop your steering wheel all the way down, pull it out. There's two 7mm up here. Start from the back, just kind of pull forward. This just needs to come loose. You don't actually have to take it out, it's just like the airbag. Pull it free. Now you got those screws out, grab it from the bottom of the kit. Give it a pull on either side, lift it up so that those two tabs clear, reach in behind and unplug the top plug first. As you can see, it's rather tight. It helps to have someone there just to get these out so you don't scratch anything up. Remove all of this. Let's take a look at the harnesses real quick. If this would have had the factory backup camera, that harness that it came with would have plugged into this here. This is the plug that was in the top screen. Down here we have the two main wiring harnesses, and then we have two antenna adapters that were plugged in. This thick orange one here is going to be the FM. This one here with the mustard colored end on it is going to be the Sirius XM. We're going to plug our SAT1 into that so that we can retain the Sirius XM. Back here we have this bar. Now this bar can sometimes cause issues when trying to put things in. We like to remove it. You can simply just sit here, grab it, and keep rocking it back and forth, and it'll fall right out. So most of the time when we go to do one of these, we're going to retain the factory USB, we're going to retain the aux and all that. With this particular kit though, you don't need to do that because they've gone ahead and put all those into that pocket that we showed you earlier. So we don't have to go any further than this right here. Let's head over to the bench and mock up the radio and start test fitting it so that we can get the right depth. So these two metal brackets have a left and a right stamped on them. Let's start with the right. They do not come with screws. Use the screws that come with your radio. First start, you just want to pick a line. In this case, like this has this nice line right here, and line this front edge up with that so that we can match it on the other side. Just gonna put these two front screws in for right now, just so we can get this into the car. This kit, it's designed to move everything up in the dash. That big piece down here was the main radio box. We don't want, obviously, a radio that low in the dash. We want to be able to get to the screen. So this kit moves this all the way up to the top. Kit, we go ahead and plug this harness onto it. We don't want it on there, so now I'm just gonna unplug it, put it in my pocket. Other than the metal portion of it being mounted crooked, me this side's up a little too high. This is about where I want this radio to be, so we're pretty good there. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull this back out, lower it back down a hair. We'll definitely fix this, but looking at this, it looks like it may actually rub when we open it. I think I'm gonna move this back just a hair in the kit. The depth is better. That's about where I want it with this. We're gonna go ahead and pull this back out. We're gonna put all our pieces back in, start building this kit, get it ready. The factory dash bezel, really the only piece we need is this guy right here. To get that, there's two clips that push in, and it just pops right out. Snap it into the new place on the new kit. Make sure both the buttons work. Install the pocket. So there's two screws that come with the kit. Screw it in. Finished with this. Put this in that box so that it doesn't get screwed up or knocked around or anything like that. So the screen will fit up underneath it. So we'll go ahead and mount that in there. Get our harness portion here plugged in. Just remember to unplug the iData. That's going to get plugged in last. The trick is going to be we have to plug all these things in and turn it on and let it go through its setup, and then also do any final adjustments we need to the dash kit. This is going to be one of those balancing acts, maybe pull it apart once or twice just to make sure we get it right. We can also plug in that harness that we had hanging out in our pocket. Select AV, we can come over here and select car features. Should be our gauges here, our doors are open, tire pressure, outside temperature. So this is your AC. You can come and test our AC buttons here. All right, there we go. So we should see it react. So I'm turning up and down the controls and it's moving on the screen here. Power off. As you can see, the button here will move. Kit is functioning properly. Turn the car back off and we'll work on getting this kit all aligned in place and getting this thing snapped back together. And this guy is done. Let's take a look at the work here. Fernando did a bang up job on the camera. The lens is mounted down there on the bottom. Looks extremely factory. The dash kit, the fit and feel of this is really top notch. iData did a wonderful job on these knobs and making them feel very factory. And as you can see, it's super responsive. Ready? Push, 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 push. So it's within milliseconds of responding. You can X out of that. Go ahead and throw it in reverse for me. There's our backup camera. This one actually already has the lines on it. So that's it for this one. If you've got one of these F150s and want one of those iData Link kits, there you go. Check one of those out. What do you think?
That was awesome. That was, I like it.
Yeah, real nice. I think with the Ecomaster camera, gave it that full factory feel. All right, guys, as we like to say,
on to the next one.